Another block with Mir. This time I'm with Efrat. She's a professional podcaster, so I'm like, wow, I'm a little bit intimidated. But then I remember we spent almost like 3 weeks together here in Lugano. And she's now a friend, and she is like, I mean, we are doing everything, the full Lugano experience together. And so I want to share with you one block with Efrat. I think she has an amazing knowledge. She has so many things to share with us and with you, future students and current students, or anybody who want to just like escape the fiat metrics in their jobs and to land a Bitcoin jobs. So my first question is, you wear so many hats in your life. I discovered during this week that you have a degree in computer science, or you are tech, you are techie. And also something that really caught up my mind, you were a professional dancer too, right?
Not professional.
I think you were a professional.
No, not professional. A dancer. I danced, but just for hobby.
I think she was a semi-athlete, a professional, because she does everything well.
Dushan was here. Dushan is a professional dancer.
Really?
Him and Diana, they dance. Wow. You should put that in your research.
Absolutely. And I mean, Bitcoiners are so interesting. They wear so many hats, different hats. What I wanted to ask you is just like, what from your previous lives are you still using? What are the skills that you are still using in every day from your dancing years, or from computer science, or whatever you have done in your life that are still very present in your everyday life?
So I think one of the best skills I got from my computer science degree was actually logical thinking. So just to learn how to look at complex problems and try to break them down logically, and then reach the solution in a relatively fast way and an efficient way. And I still do that today. So a lot of the principles I know from Boolean algebra and I mean, like, and an elimination of solutions that don't fit in. So the kind of skills I got through the computer science degree with logical thinking, still I'm using them till today. Then with hands-on technical stuff, from time to time when I need to fix, I don't know, HTML website or newsletters, I can go into the code and just find the chunks that I need to just see what's happening. I don't always succeed, but at least I understand what I'm reading a little bit, and I like it. I'm not intimidated by it either. And I think the fact that I was working as a programmer for 3 years, and I'm in another 3 years learning about computers, and that was a time where the mobile was just coming up. So it was like a really exciting time to be in tech. That was really cool because today anything tech doesn't scare me. And, I think this is one of the biggest problems we have today, when people are so intimidated by where tech could go, how dystopian it could be. And it's true. It could be used, since it's a tool, it could be used for bad, like anything in life. It could be corrupted. But if you know that tech is a tool and you know how to handle it, and you're not afraid to try things and to then consider where this could go and try to be a force for good, then there's nothing to be scared about. It's just another tool that you can try. So, I mean, also AI is one of the things that people are so, on the one hand, so enchanted by, on the other hand, so afraid of. And I can understand that. But again, you have to be minded and educated and just know what you're doing when you're using these tools. So I think that's one of the things I'm using from my past life. What else? I was a marketeer for 20 years. So every day I use my skills as a marketeer, even though I don't do any more B2B marketing for a company and, create revenues in the millions of dollars. I harness all this energy and skill and knowledge to my own little business, and I do everything I know on my own little brand. And I think it works because I'm able to scale it very quickly.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah, and I love what I do. I really enjoy it. And I really do love marketing. And I think that's one of the things we taught the students here this week, that marketing doesn't have to be advertising, something that is very pushy, very salesy, which is one of the things that people really conflate marketing with advertising. Marketing can be all based on values, and what kind of value do you provide your target audience? What value do you bring to the world? And, building businesses and building brands that rely on ideologies that are pure, that are good, that can change the world for the better is one of the most rewarding things you can do. And I'm privileged to do that. So I use my marketing skills all the time. I don't use my dancing skills.
Oh, yes, I was curious about that.
Only when I go to parties, dude. But
Well, but maybe there's some sort of like discipline or there's some skills you can learn.
Well, you know what? Now that I'm doing the gym with you for the past 3 weeks or so, I can say that I think my body remembers. Like there's the muscle memory that the body remembers how to stand, what's the right position, how to work correctly on the muscles and how to build them. Because I do experience now that I'm not 20 anymore, I'm 45. So I'm experiencing back pain from time to time. And I have some, my body is not fully, how we're not symmetrical. So sometimes we have more pain in one side than the other. And so going to the gym now and starting to get in shape again, that helps me remember. It helps my muscles remember how to get the body in the right position and shape again, how to be more symmetrical. Symmetrical, I mean just in the way, the posture, the way we stand, the way we hold ourselves. I look at myself in the mirror because I find that oftentimes I stand a bit slouchy, and I remind myself to stand straight and to let us stand, right? Or sit straight, yeah. And, one of the things that happens to women as they grow older is that sometimes we have belly fat and the belly goes out a little bit. So if you are able to teach your muscles again how to contract the belly muscles and to work on the core muscles, then that's quite handy. And I think the fact that I have background in dancing really helps with that, but I don't dance.
No, it really helps. She's a badass. You have to consider she's doing the workout the same as me, and I've been working out every day since 7 months or probably even more. And she's
the same. You do a lot more than me. What are you talking about?
No, I don't think so. And it took me more time, trust me. But that's just a philosophy of me. It's just anything is reusable in life. And there's a reason why we are just attracted to something. We have done that particular things, and everything is transferable and reusable. And I think this is something that is not preached enough to people, because people are just into credential, universities or titles or whatever. But we are in the Bitcoin space, and I think those things don't matter that much anymore. But I have a question for you. If those things, and I think you can relate to that too, how can we have a proof of work of our value as in our jobs as professional? What do you think is the true proof of work instead of credentials, title, or whatever?
Right. I think what we bring to a business or to a company that we work for, whether we're independent or we work for someone else, is first of all bringing our strengths and skills as professionals and bringing our true self. So often people, and I was like that too before I started working actively on my personal brand, but we bring just one side of us to the workplace. And we show just how good we are in whether it's coding or marketing or, logistics or whatever it is that our profession is. And we try to just narrow down ourselves to that niche in the workplace and make sure that our bosses or our colleagues are aware just of that. Whereas I say, bring all of who you are. And I'm not talking about, come to work and start talking to everyone about your personal life. No, you should obviously choose carefully your colleagues and friends, but be authentic enough to bring all of your skill set, all of your characteristics, all of who you are in terms of your energy and your passions to work, because you never know what kind of relationships and what kind of collaborations you can create in a workplace. And you don't know, you have no idea how much people get inspired by people who are all of who they are. They don't try to just be one thing and just do it right and be the best at what they do. Like, this is me, like the whole package, right? Authentic. Whether you like it, you don't like it, that's what we have to deal with. And then the next thing is work always on your communication skills. Yeah. Because if you are a good communicator and you're truthful, authentic, you have integrity. And by the way, having integrity is not just about keeping your promise, like saying something and then delivering on it. Integrity is saying something, trying to make that promise delivered. If you can't, you communicate the first moment you know you're not going to deliver. That is integrity, because you're being honest about your failures as well, as well as your successes. Okay, so you don't have to, we can't keep all our promises in life. Sometimes things change, circumstances change, and we've changed our mind or something happened. But then we have to be brave and authentic enough to come and communicate about it the moment we know, so that we handle the risk, we take responsibility of the consequences, we make sure we have a very fruitful relationship with the other person, and they know they're being respected, because we have now shared with them something that didn't work out, but at least we shared it, and now we can recommit to a new deadline, to a new deliverable, to whatever it is that we can now deliver again, but, try again in a second chance, but in a good way. So I think good communication that is based on integrity is super important in the workplace. Just be all of who you are. Stop pretending that you are like just one thing and you're just good at that, and stop being afraid of showing all of who you are. People actually like people who are rounded, who have many angles and facets, and they talk about the fact that they like hiking outside of work, because maybe they can do it with a friend from work after work. You know what I mean? So
I landed many jobs in my life through these things, because they were like characteristic and people related to me, and like I was different from the other people, from the competition. And so in my experience, being outsider or having something peculiar really helped me. And so you should really consider not to hide yourself, but to show all of you and convey that in a professional way. And this is what you were teaching to the students. Yep. Personal branding is so important. And one thing really stuck in my mind is like discovering your uniqueness is a lot of work.
Yes.
Right? Because it's not something like, I know, and that's it.
Right. We normally have a clue. Like we know a little bit, or we're like in the neighborhood, we're around it, we're the zone. But it's like really the seed in the middle and the onion above it. And we have to peel those layers in order to get to the seed. Because in that seed, it's already there. We have our uniqueness. There is only one of us. There's only one Mir. There's only one Efrat. There's only one Giacomo. There's only one of each one of us. The art is not being afraid to go deeper and look into what makes us unique and then own it. And not be shy about it, or not try to change it, or be like someone else, because we think we may have role models. That's fine. That's okay. Like we can be inspired by other people, but we don't have to imitate them to an extent where we lose our own identity. Like we can still be who we are and respect others and take inspiration from them and take motivation from them. And even steal some hacks from them. You know what I mean? This is something about Mir that I really like. I want to be like her in that, right? That's fine. But in your core, in your essence, you want to get to what drives you and what gives you inspiration and who you really are and what are your values and what is your vision in life and what is your mission? Why do you get up every morning and do what you do? Is it worth your time and energy? Is it really? And then you can... you may find yourself in a crossroad where you want to change things in your life, which is another thing that we talked about. Like taking action is probably the hardest thing, because even when we see stuff already, acting upon it is then the next hardest thing. And when we have courage and when we know that When we create a breakdown, we can then grow as a result of that breakdown. We become more accepting of the breakdown and allowing it the space and time it needs, allowing it to happen in life, because we know that the next thing behind the corner, some growth is waiting for us. So we don't have to be so afraid of it, but it takes time to understand that. Sometimes it takes a lot of, proof of work, falling on your face, failing, trying again, to understand that it's not the end of the world if you fail. And you can always learn something from it, as long as you're committed to staying curious, staying humble, and wanting to learn something new about yourself.
We still have this mindset of like career should be linear to be successful.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is for the majority of people, the careers are just
volatility.
They are just like this, but in the end, just like Bitcoin, this is the direction. So you have to start thinking like this. There's going to be valleys, ups and down, and think random and confused. This is our typical modern career. And it's very important to start with that, because otherwise we are going to feel that we are failing the first time, that things doesn't go exactly as we expected. And this is a strong life skills that we should develop as soon as possible, in my opinion.
Right. Imagine what I had felt at the age of 25 after studying in university for 3 years, computer science, and then working for 3 years as a programmer, where I had woken up in the morning and I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. I cannot be a programmer. It's not me. And then the next question is, so what would you do? I have no fucking clue. I didn't know I can be a marketeer. I didn't know I like that. I didn't know what it was, to be honest. I did have a clue about the fact that business is interesting for me, but I don't know where I can fit in. Having said that, even though I was so scared and didn't know what to do, you're talking about career evolvement. I knew I had to stop. That doesn't work for me. So I had to take action. I quit, and then I joined my partner to open a business and run a business of jewelry and accessories for 2 years, because I wanted to learn about business and I had no intention of going back to university. So who knows, just take the action, and it will force you to take the next action that will progress you. Because if you know that life is constantly moving you forward, you're not going to go back, right? You need to trust that the universe holds you. It's got you. You're okay. You're protected. You can take an action and then start discovering what the next step is.
Exactly.
Right? You don't have to get it all figured out, especially not when you're 25, 26, 27, right? Even sometimes when you're 35, you don't know. And it's okay. And we can make changes, right? I made my last change when I'm 42.
Yep.
Right? Who knows? And at 42, I'm like, fuck it. I'm leaving all of that behind. I'm going to a totally new way. Who knows whether it's going to work or not? Am I going to suck? Am I going to be good at it? Can I make money off of it? There's all these questions which I have no answers for until I start acting, start working. So, just don't be discouraged when you don't know exactly how to move on to the next step. Just try to listen to your gut and operate based on that. And take the next action and the next action and the next action, and don't get stopped. That's the most important thing.
Well, I completely agree with this.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this concept of a squiggling career, describing this type of modern career. And it's very nice. And I remember I had this moment too in my life. I was stopping and I was like, am I failing?
Right.
And then I discovered, through what I was doing, there was a plan actually in my action. I had a direction, and then I discovered while studying, while doing, meeting people and going around, I finally discovered even better my direction and my next job or my next project or whatever, but only by doing and not feeling guilty because of that. It's very difficult because everybody's telling you, oh yeah, you should go linear, you're failing, what are you going to do with your life? You are in your 40s and you're done in your 40s, right? Are you going to change your career for real? But that's because they are scared.
Absolutely. And they
and it's
project
scary.
that on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you have to be so courageous, so brave enough to go against yourself and people around you and go straight in your direction. Is one of the most difficult thing I can imagine, especially if you have a career already, if you have a family or whatever. But it's totally worth it. In inside, you look back and you're like, oh, exactly. Yeah, I'm grateful because I quit. I'm grateful because I was not sure. I changed my life so many times. And I used to be a vocal coach. And one day from another, I quit to become a Bitcoiner without a technical background. And here I am. So,
Yes, you never know.
you never know.
You never know. You have to trust. You really have to have faith. And I think the hardest thing I've ever done was getting divorced.
Well, I can imagine.
Yeah, that was hard. That was super hard. But then again, because the reason I'm bringing it up, because you mentioned you feel like you failed, right? You feel like you failed if you're not going in the direction of the school or the expectations of the parents or the direction of what society expects you to do after you finish a degree, or even what society expects you to do as a married woman or man. Like there are so many external expectations of you. And so obviously when I got divorced, I was like feeling like a failure. What have I done? But then I had to like clean out that noise and say, okay, what is your number one goal? My number one goal is to be a good mom for my son. Since I have a son, I don't want to be this depressed mom, right? I'm not doing well, obviously. It's hard. It's not fun to get divorced, but my son was only 1 year old at the time.
Wow.
I want to be the best possible mom for him. So if that's my goal, what do I need to do? I need to go to a therapy. I need to make sure I take care of myself, because if I'm not cleaning out all my shit, then I'm not going to be a great mom for him. He's not going to see a happy role model or truly fulfilled, like authentically happy mom. And that's what I want for him. So I kind of forced myself to work on myself so that I can be healthier and better for him. And every time, that's what I'm saying. You break down, you look at the next step. You look at, okay, I failed, or at least that's what I'm telling myself, that I failed. What do I do now? What is the most important thing? How do I reach the next goal, the next level?
Wow. Yeah. Thanks for sharing because
Pleasure.
I got shivers because it's just like it's such very tough situation. You have a kid and you have to take this strong decision about your life, and people surrounding you maybe disagree or just like judging or whatever. So it must be a really, really hard time. But
feeling of guilt. What was my biggest guilt moment when I did that? It was 2 or 2.5 years after I got married. When we got divorced, we were together for 7 years, but we only got married like 2.5 years earlier than that. And I was thinking, oh my God, all those people that came to my wedding and gave me such beautiful gifts, and not 2 years later, I'm rug pulling them. I felt like a scammer, I thought about all the guests at the wedding.
you have to return the gifts now.
I'm like, is it enough time that have passed that I don't have to return the gifts? It's silly, but it's
I can imagine.
so humane.
I can imagine.
When you feel down and when you feel like a failure, you kind of feel like that everywhere.
Yeah.
And you have to really lift yourself up. Otherwise the crazy places you go to in your mind are really insane.
It's interesting. Now you are in Lugano. Have you ever like in Lugano doing this live? It's crazy. You never know, right?
Never. This is like, I'm pinching myself almost every day that I'm here. First of all, I'm super grateful for what I do today, for having amazing people in my life, for being able to contribute to a community that is doing something really cool in my eyes and really important for humanity. And then to do all of that in a place like Lugano, it's like Switzerland is beautiful. I love it. And I love the energies here. And I love the team at Plan B. And I love the whole thing is just so perfect. So
and you're living the full Lugano experience, the workout, the food, and also you accepted the challenge. So my challenge was like living in Bitcoin only. I lived in Bitcoin only for 11 days. And the only brave one, once again, was Efrat. And she's currently living in Bitcoin only in Lugano. And how is it going now?
So I actually enjoyed it very much. It's not easy everywhere, even though you have more than 300 merchants here that accept Bitcoin. Since I'm on a challenge, everywhere I went, I've asked, do you accept Bitcoin? Do you accept Bitcoin? Do you accept Bitcoin? The good thing is it becomes easier to ask it. Sometimes in the beginning I was nervous or a bit afraid to ask it, and I was asking it in that way. Do you accept Bitcoin? And they go, no. And I'm like, oh, sorry. And now I come, do you accept Bitcoin? And they go, no. And I said, well, you should.
Exactly.
Okay. But that's your loss. Like,
your competition is
they do.
Bitcoin.
Everyone here accepts Bitcoin. How come you don't? So first of all, that has changed, like, my attitude towards how I ask people, because I really do see and think after doing this also in other places around the world that merchants that do accept it, their lives change.
Yeah.
Obviously, not all of them. They don't all get Bitcoin straight away. There is a learning curve. But the ones that do understand what they're holding and they don't want to part with it, they don't want to get rid of it, they want to keep it, they understand that this is an amazing asset and it's doing something really positive to their businesses. So I did speak to a few merchants here that told me, no, we don't accept Bitcoin, but we really want to. How do we do it? So they're kind of behind. And some of them even brought their personal wallet to accept Bitcoin from me just because they really wanted to and they didn't want to miss the opportunity. But all I'm saying is that the city of Lugano and whoever is handling this here still have a lot of work because a lot of merchants do want to get on board. Also, you get all these comments from Bitcoiners around the world. What are you doing? Why are you giving your Bitcoin away? It's like a stupid thing to do when Bitcoin is worth so much $1. But then it's a mindset thing when you understand that you're not in Bitcoin to be rich. You're in Bitcoin because it's changing the world. Then and it's not like I'm buying a house now with Bitcoin. I'm like living off it in hotels and restaurants and for service providers and things like that. It's not a whole lot of money, and I can do that because I also earn some money in Bitcoin. So I earn, I spend. It's this circular thing. I think it's a very positive thing, and I'm going to continue doing this as long as I'm here. For another few days.
For this, for this challenge, also sharing the feedbacks and keep things moving, because I think it's really important also to see that we are doing this, we are like faces human and we are using Bitcoin. And I think the human factor is so important because otherwise it's just a tool, a technology so far away. And seeing that we are living in Bitcoin, it's one of the most powerful experience we can share with people. And so it has been really important. And also, there's a lot of work to do. We are working on that in Lugano. We are very aware and we keep doing all the things that are needed. We are not going to stop. So Efrat, you're so amazing that we probably can go on for 145, 44 actually, blocks, which I think is just like one day of blocks, and I have to change my format because of that. But it has been amazing. So thank you very much for being here in Lugano, for the challenge, for being here during this block or two. Whatever.
For mining another block together.
Yeah, mined another block. So thank you very much. Grazie mille. Grazie.